Rich, thank you for showing me through your home. Thank you very much. Beautiful home. Before we get started here, I had a few questions for you.
Okay.
I just want to confirm some things we had talked about over the phone. You need to be moved in 90 days, is that true?
Right.
Okay. And you had mentioned that you want the highest possible price for your home. That's important to you. Real concerned about your bottom line.
Definitely.
Rich, do you subscribe to any newspapers?
Yes, I take the register.
Take the register. Good deal. All week or just on the weekends?
Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday. Which day do you spend most of the time actually sitting down and reading the newspaper?
Probably on Sunday.
Probably on Sunday? Yeah, you're like most people. Good for you. Rich, what do you really know about First Team?
So your signs everywhere.
That's a good sign, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I've seen some of your ads. So it's, it's fun.
So if you get the Orange County Register on Sunday, you've seen our ads in the paper there. Okay, great. I'm going to spend a few minutes and tell you a little bit about the history of the company so you know who you're interviewing.
Okay.
And in order to get you the highest price, it's going to be important to go through a process of finding out the pools of buyers that First Team can deliver to you, because in order to get you the highest price, okay, we have to expose your home to the largest pool of potential buyers.
Okay.
Make sense? First Team was formerly a Century 21 franchise. Matter of fact, in 1976, the owner had a Century 21 franchise, and by 1980, it became the #1 selling Century 21 franchise in the country. Soon after that, he opened a second office in Huntington Beach, and that office soon rose to be the #3 office in the country in the Century 21 system. Not long after that, there was a third office opened in Irvine, and that became the #7 top-selling Century 21 franchise in the country. So here you had a man who had the #1, the #3, and the #7 Century 21 offices in the country, outperforming 7,500 other Century 21 offices. It was about that time where we started to really take a look at the franchise itself and seeing that. Do you understand how franchises work?
A little bit. It's not as it's real estate.
In the Century 21 system, off of the top of every sale that's made, a certain percentage goes to Century 21 International. And Century 21 International, Rich, is in the business of selling franchises. They're not in the home selling business. So we started to take a look at the Orange County real estate market, and we determined that 80% of the people that were buying in Orange County were actually coming from within Orange County. But yet we were sending all of these resources to Century 21 International, and they were out, creating competition for us and promoting selling franchises and not selling homes. So the theory was that if we can reallocate those funds right here in Orange County, it would have the greatest impact for you, our customer. What you're going to find through this presentation is that First Team is totally focused on you, the consumer. The decisions that we've made through marketing and advertising and the locations of our offices and some of our affiliations is all focused on you, the consumer. You'll see that we're more focused on your bottom line than our bottom line, because we know if we take care of your bottom line, we'll be okay. It was about 1985 when the owner of the company dropped the Century 21 system. We became First Team Real Estate. We reallocated all of those funds right back into Orange County, and by 1990 became the #1 selling real estate firm in Orange County. And we have maintained that position ever since. Pretty impressive story,
Yeah,
right?
that is.
So he set aside his ego from being #1 in the country to being just a real estate firm in Orange County, and soon rose to be #1 now. Okay?
Interesting.
At the time we started promoting our #1 status, other firms started promoting they were #1 in something. It's pretty confusing to the consumer. So what the owner of the company did is he, again, said, well, let's just put it on the table, and he took $100,000 and laid out a challenge to any broker, any individual, any accounting firm, and said, basically, if you can prove that we are not the #1 selling firm in Orange County, there's $100,000 on the table. The $100,000, Rich, today, it's still there. So nobody's been able to prove that we are not the #1 selling firm. As a matter of fact, there's a company out of Colorado, it's called RealTrends, and they came into the Orange County real estate market, and they did a study of the market, and they confirmed that First Team, in fact, was the #1 selling real estate firm in Orange County, selling over 9,000 homes in 1999. And And this was an article that was published in the Los Angeles Times. We had nothing to do with the article. They came in and did and published it, and we found it, and we are here to show you it, okay? In Orange County, Rich, in 1999, First Team sold 7,375 homes, outperforming the other top 4 brokers. This is total number of homes sold, okay? All this information is supported through the data of the multiple listing service. Okay? As a company, we sold over 9,080 homes. We now have offices that are in Los Angeles County and in Riverside County, so our total number of sales was over 9,000 in 1999. Rich, this is a really important bar chart. What it shows is our growth and production over the course of the years since 1976. There's really 2 important areas I want to draw your attention to. And these are the recessionary years of 80 through 82 and the recessionary years of 93 through 96. What's important to note here is that during these recessionary years, a lot of real estate companies went out of business. The multiple offices started to consolidate and they shrunk. And one of the most expensive costs associated with any real estate firm is their advertising budget. And what we found is that a lot of these firms, the first thing they cut out was their advertising. And you know what that does, right? Without advertising, you don't collect buyers. If you don't have buyers, you can't sell your listings. So during these years, you can see that First Team actually grew its production during the recessionary years when others were going the other way. And then, since 1998, our sales have exceeded $2.5 billion a year. So what you can guarantee, what I can guarantee you with First Team, Rich, is that regardless of the market condition, we're going to be here for you. We're not going to cut our advertising budget. We're not going to hide behind a recession. We're going to be there for you, always, producing marketing and advertising to collect buyers and deliver it to you. Because First Team is focused on this. Our job is to go out and collect the buyers and deliver it to you. Because as a seller, what you need most is buyers, right?
Right.
Now, in order to get you the highest price, if we can deliver you more buyers, it's likely that there's a buyer in that pool that's going to pay more money for your home, true? Okay, so you'll start to see how we've allocated our funds in order to do that, to create a buyer delivery system for you, all right? Rich, this is an updated market trend. It's going to show you what the statistics are over the last 12 months. This is by a company called Trend Graphics. And for the last 12 months, this pie chart is the Orange County real estate market. What it shows is that 8.9% of the sales in Orange County is done by First Team. We're outperforming every other broker in Orange County. In a real estate transaction, it's broken down into 2 areas, Rich. There's the listing side transaction, the listing sold, and then there's the buyer transaction where we actually took a buyer and sold the property. Let me go over these numbers with you. In the last 12 months, we've sold 6,936 homes. That's total number of transactions, listings sold, and buyer side sales, okay? And this column here talks about the number of listings sold. 3,523 listings sold. We've sold more listings than any other company in Orange County. Can you see that? This is the really important column, Rich. For you as a seller needing buyers, First Team sold 3,413 buyers compared to the number 2 competitor of 2,800 homes. We're selling 600 more buyers than the number 2 firm and almost 900 more homes than the number 3 firm and just short of 2,000 homes to buyers than the number 4 firm. Pretty impressive?
Yeah, it is.
So the question that you have to ask yourself is, well, how are you selling more buyers' homes? And we're going to go through our marketing and advertising and just quickly see that we have the ability to go out and capture more buyers and deliver to our sellers. Okay? Make sense to you? This is what First Team looks like today. We have 23 offices located in Orange County, or it's 21 located in Orange County and a total of 23 offices. Some out here in the Los Angeles counties and then moving into Riverside County. What I want you to pay attention here, though, Rich, is let's get back to the franchise for a minute, okay? If these were all Century 21 offices, they would be competing with one another, independently owned, okay, working their own market, competing for the same clients. First Team's owned by one man. There's no shareholders, there's no, we're not selling insurance, we're not selling franchises, we're selling homes. And so when you hire First Team, you hire all of us. There's almost 1,100 agents now in the company. Here's what's important. Remember we started talking about a buyer delivery system? and we're going to start talking about certain pools of buyers. All of these offices have a certain number of listings, right? Our studies have shown that 80% of the people in Orange County buy in Orange County, so they're relocating. So out of all these sellers here, there's a good chance that 80% of them are buyers for right back into the same county.
Right, okay.
See, so First Team has the larger pool of listings, right? Which means that just within that group of listings, we also have a large pool of buyers. So 80% of those sellers are going to be buyers right back into our county. So we have a pool of buyers that nobody else has, because we're a team. We're not competing with one another. We all are working together to help you get your home sold. So when you list with one of us, you list with all of us.
Okay.
Make sense to you?
Makes sense, yeah.
Would you like to have that teamwork working for you?
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. Especially being in the South County, Rich, there's definitely a migration of people moving south. So we really get the benefit of the offices in the north and east part of the county. Those sellers are becoming our buyers. Okay, so it's a unique pool of buyers that nobody else has. We're going to get into print advertising for a second. And, on the surface, Rich, a lot of advertising looks the same. So what we're going to do is really dive into it, try to get the truth about advertising, really try to differentiate the marketing and advertising. Now, you had mentioned you get the Orange County Register Saturday and Sunday's the day that you sit down and read it the most. You're like most people. Let me ask you a question. If you're a real estate firm and your focus was to sell homes, and your focus was to get the most amount of money for your client, wouldn't you think that you would advertise in the medium that would get in front of most potential buyers? Mm-hmm. Rich, do you know which paper is the most read paper in the county?
No.
It's the Orange County Register.
No.
Yeah, there's 418,000 that are circulated just on Sunday. Do you have any idea what's the second most read paper in the county?
No, probably the Times.
Yeah, Los Angeles Times Orange County Edition, 266,000 circulation on Sunday. So with those types of numbers, would it make sense that you would want to advertise, to that pool of buyers? Would you like to have your home advertised to that large pool of buyers out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would make sense, right? I brought with me this morning the Orange County Register. Yeah, there's the new home section. Let's take both of these.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Rich. I'll take the paper from you.
All right.
Great. Something about marketing and advertising. There's another home seller out there that really understood that marketing and advertising definitely works, and that's the new home builder. Do you realize that the new home builder has a responsibility to their shareholders? A lot of the companies are publicly held, and they are very conscious about the bottom line, like you are. You know how you said, you're really going to pay attention to your bottom line? Well, new home builders really pay attention to the bottom line. And they've got experts and economists and everybody else really focused on that bottom line. So if they can cut costs and still, have the highest bottom line, they're going to do it. They're also going to do things in order to make sure that they enhance that bottom line. For example, new home builders have professionally decorated models. You've seen that, right? Professionally landscaped.
Right.
They've got brand new homes. It's the best product on the market. Price, But they do one thing consistent with all of that. They even have an open house 7 days a week, right? You've been to a new home, right? There's salespeople there. So they have an open house 7 days a week. They've got the best product. It's professionally decorated and furnished and the whole works. But yet they continue to do one thing consistently. And since you get the paper on the weekends, I'm sure you've seen the new home section, right? See, builders, full-page advertisement, color, because they understand the difference between a wholesale buyer and a retail buyer. They realize that if they don't advertise, even though they've got the best product, they're not going to get the retail buyer to their product, which means the bottom line is going to be affected, which means they're going to have to answer to the shareholders. So they're savvy economists and all their business planners, they make sure that they've got a nice marketing and advertising program. How, pull that retail buyer right to the product. You pulled this out of the Orange County Register Sunday. This is the residential resale section. Okay, why don't we take a look and see who's advertising in the most read paper in the county on the most read day?
Okay.
You would assume that most brokers would be there, right?
You would, yeah.
Wouldn't it make sense?
Okay, let's see. Different companies. This looks like this is First Team.
There's actually two ads here for
Okay.
First Team.
Okay.
These are featured properties that the register puts in. We get 2 spots, Rich, because we're such a dominant advertiser in the Orange County Register, so these are our.
Okay, okay. Let's see, some ads here.
Yeah, those are classified ads.
Right. Prudential, Century 21, Star.
Yeah.
And then First Team.
Rich, here's First Team on the back page of the Orange County most read paper in the county. Okay, where 80% of the buyers would come from, and yet we're the only company with a full page here. Do you have any idea why? It's cost, Rich. You see, the companies really make their strategy in 2 different ways. One is where they have a marketing and advertising campaign in order to capture sellers. And the other one is the marketing and advertising campaign that's designed to capture buyers. Which firm would you want to be associated with?
Well, the buyers.
The one that has the system that goes out and captures buyers, right? Because you're a seller.
That's what I mean.
Well, First Team has taken the back page of the Orange County Home Finder section, okay, for a couple of reasons. One is we know that there's the largest pool of potential buyers reading the paper on Sunday and the most read paper in the county. So we positioned ourselves here in order to capture buyers, okay? We haven't made any decisions about cost. We're making decisions based on effective marketing. We realize that if we can be positioned here, we have a greater chance of collecting buyers and delivering them to you, right? So we've chosen to be on the back page on Sunday, which happens to be the second most read page in the newspaper is the back page. Did you know that?
I do now.
You do now. Front page being the most read,
Okay.
back page being the second most read.
Makes sense.
We've chosen to go with color versus black and white. Do you know why?
More effective.
More effective, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. You had mentioned, or I had mentioned to you that the second most read paper in the county was the Los Angeles Times Orange County Edition. I brought it with me. Why don't we see the advertisements in the real estate section?
Okay.
There it is. I'll take a
Is
picture.
it? Okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Rich. This is the residential resale section of the Los Angeles Times, second most read paper in the county, 266,000 in circulation. What do you see right off the bat?
First Team ad.
We're on the first page, okay? We're in color. Okay, why don't we go ahead and just look through it?
First Team on the second page.
Yeah, pretty impressive, huh?
And it's Old Banker.
Yeah.
And let's see.
Some scattered ads here, and then
Right.
obviously you've got your
Remax.
Remax here, and classified ads.
And
Century
Century
21.
21.
Yeah, they did a good job on the back page there. Rich, second most read paper in the county, okay? And First Team's got 2 pages in there compared to these others, 1. When you open up the paper, where do your eyes go? To the color. Here's Cole Baker's ad. Any reason why you think they chose black and white over color?
Probably cheaper.
Yeah, cost. See, again, this is the company that's focused on their bottom line, not yours. You see, one of your goals is to get the highest price. You want to be moved in 90 days. So our company's focus is to make sure that we help you with those goals. We know that if we can attract more buyers to your home, we'll get it sold in time, sure. But you don't want to just give it away. You want the highest price. So we know if we have a larger pool of buyers to deliver to our sellers, you'll get a higher price. So you're like most buyers, when you look at this newspaper, you're attracted to the color versus black and white. So can you see how our advertising is more effective? As a seller, where would you want to be advertised? In the color. Yeah, most sellers have made that same choice. There's something else I wanted to show you about the advertising, Rich, but before I do that, I'm going to show you this paper. This is Thursday's Orange County Register.
Okay.
There's a real estate section in here I'd like to pull out for you.
All right. I don't give us paper on Thursday.
Right.
So, it'll take me a while to find it.
There it is, Rich.
There, okay.
Now, This is Thursday's paper, okay? Now, these two are Sundays. Registered 416,000, okay? 66,000, okay, or 266,000. And then here we have the coastal living, which is an insert to the Orange County Register. It comes out on Thursday, Rich. Something I want to tell you about this paper, first of all. It has a circulation of about 66,000, okay, as compared to these others. This insert is only inserted into the papers, you know, they go up and down the coast. The people in the north and east part of the county won't see this. Also, it won't be in newsstands. So a client who's coming in to relocate into the area that picks up a local newspaper from the newsstand, it won't find the section. It only goes to subscribers, okay? But it's a Thursday paper, which, you know, Thursday, most people don't have time to read the paper, wouldn't you agree?
Right.
We're busy like you and I, and we spend our time on Sunday reading the paper. Why don't we take a look and see who's advertising there?
Tarbell, Summit, Prudential, which has got a lot of pages.
Yeah, they do have a lot of pages in there.
Star, Page 21, Goldacre.
See, Rich, you're going to find most of the firms advertising in this paper on Thursday. You're going to find us in here too, because we want to make sure that we don't miss one buyer for your home. See, our job is to make sure that we find that one buyer for your property, so we're going to be in all the publications. But I want to focus on, you know, some of these other companies that have chosen to be in a less effective paper that has a smaller audience on a day that most people don't read the newspaper, why they would invest their marketing dollars here as opposed to here.
Probably cost.
It's all about cost. See, they're concerned about their bottom line, not yours. Remember we talked about there are marketing strategies to capture buyers and others to capture listings. Okay. This right here, Rich, is considered a listing tool. Okay. These firms, if they were after buyers, they'd be where the buyers are. Okay. What they do here, and some of them have invested in multiple pages, so they can sit down with you and say, Rich, if you list with me, I'll get you in the newspaper. And see, most sellers want to see their picture in the newspaper. So they get kind of excited about it, but they don't really know the truth. And what the agent hopes you never do is ask them, well, who's going to see it? Because if they told you, then you'd have some concerns about it. So they just sit down and use this as a listing tool. Let me ask you a question. As a seller, which paper would you want to be in?
Sunday.
Why is that?
The readership and exposure.
Yeah, because you're concerned about your bottom line, right? Just like the builders. Right, yeah, that makes sense. Rich, this is a partial list of our advertising schedule, and it shows all the different publications we're in. Actually, the lowest publication here is 7,500 in circulation, all the way up to 418,000. So First Team has positioned themselves in every major market, every minor market, trying to find that one buyer for your property. We have left no stone unturned. But we're also where we're most likely to find the buyer for your home. There are other firms that have chosen to go where it is most cost effective. We have chosen to be where it's most consumer effective. Make sense to you? See, you're starting to see the trend here where the company's focused on you and others are focused on them. They're focused on the company. We're focused on you. That's why we dropped the Century 21 franchise. Remember, it was for you. Okay? This is a bar chart that shows some statistics. It actually shows that the ad responses on Sunday is much greater than any other day during the week. What's also interesting here is that Monday is the second most productive day for ad calls. And the reason for that is because the Sunday paper. They take the day to work on Monday, they sit down at their desk and they make a phone call. So it only makes sense that Sunday and Monday are tied together. See how that works?
Even bigger than Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. I want to stay with your paper now for a moment. There's something unique about First Team's advertising beyond its location, color, and things of that nature. Look at the base of every ad. What do you see?
Phone number.
A phone number. Do you see that that's an 800 phone number? Do you know why First Team has, at the bottom of all these ads, an 800 number?
Probably to make it easier for the client, consumer.
Yeah, That's one of the reasons, Rich. You know, as we go through the newspaper here, this is probably the best example, you won't find 800 numbers in any of these other companies. Any idea why? Why they wouldn't advertise with an 800 number when it's easier for the consumer?
Probably cost.
It's cost, yeah. See, the company would have to pay for that. And see, they're concerned about the bottom line. So they're not going to invest in you to make it easier for the buyer to call, so there's a larger pool of buyers to be able to listing. They're concerned about them. So the 800 number, the most obvious is the buyer gets a free phone call. Okay, they're able to call and find out about the property. It doesn't cost them a dime. That's why our Monday ad responses are so great. Some of these people are calling from out of the area. There's a couple of other reasons, Rich, that we've chosen to go with a very expensive system. And it's because it's more effective for you as a home seller in trying to get you the highest price, which is what you indicated to me. We have an 800 number call tracking system. We have a report. And it's ran every day in the office, okay? And here's how the report reads. The first thing that happens when somebody calls that 800 number, we capture their phone number. We know exactly where they called from. It also tells us the ad that they called in on. It gives us the multiple listing number, which is the identifier to the multiple listing service. It gives us the street address, city, and the time of day of the call. Now, remember what our focus is. Our focus is have the best marketing and advertising campaign to capture more buyers and deliver them to you, right? Isn't that our focus? With this system in place, we have really refined it down to what ads generate the most number of buyers that I can bring to your listing, okay? Because we're able to find out exactly how many people are calling on each one of those ads. Wouldn't you want to know that?
Right.
Now, wouldn't they want to know which ads are effective? They would only want to know, Rich, if they were after the buyers. Not after the buyers, after the listings. See the difference between a listing tool and a buyer tool? So we're able to differentiate which ads work the best for our sellers, and so we're able to modify the ads. It has,
So basically, we run an ad on my home, and we can see them in the post.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, we can absolutely find out which properties has the greatest number of responses and actually how many. This has another purpose, Rich. Buyers, when they call on an ad, some of them aren't ready to buy right then and there. See, some of them have to go through a process. They've got to first test the waters. Can I find something better than what I'm living in now? I have to sell my home first. They want to start to find out about neighborhoods and communities. And so there's a process. And they have to be pre-qualified. And so what's really, really fantastic about this system, Rich, and again, this is a buyer pool that's unique to First Team that other companies don't have available to them. Well, it's available, but they won't invest in it for you. Is that all of these buyers here, we have the ability to follow up them next week, next month, 3 months from now, 6 months from now. So there's this pool of buyers that we're constantly interacting with, and they're at various stages of the home buying process. So when you list with First Team, Rich, there's a pool of buyers waiting for you. You haven't asked me about putting your home in paper yet. And see, this is one of the most exciting things about First Team is I haven't even asked you to sign the listing contract yet, but we're already advertising your home for sale. Do you see how it works? Is that this is in place, and it's in place for you. Our job that you're hiring me to do to get you the highest price is go out and collect buyers and have them available for you. So the minute you list your home with us, we don't have to go through this huge buying process of waiting for this buyer to evolve into he's actually ready. We've got him in place. Make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
So the minute you list your home with me, your home is exposed to this large pool of buyers that First Team's collected. And so it's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
I want to move into an area of marketing that you've probably seen at the supermarkets or car washes, and that's these magazines. Have you seen these? Let's take a look at this one. I mean, isn't it pretty?
Yeah, it's nice.
A lot of colors. Feel it. Glossy. Yeah. Yeah, let's kind of examine it a little bit here. As I go through the magazine, you'll notice that there's a lot of different real estate companies advertising. It's a nice looking magazine. It's got great pictures, colorful. There's a lot of space used to advertise for the agent. Okay, there's some big, beautiful pictures of the homes. Remember we talked about the different marketing strategies, one designed to capture buyers, the other to capture listings? Okay. Any idea what this one is?
Buyers, I would assume, buyers property.
You know, Rich, on the surface, that's what it looks like. But here's the truth about this magazine. You see, an agent that uses this magazine actually uses it as a listing tool. Okay, let me tell you how it works. An agent will sit down with you and solicit your listing and tell you that if you list with me, I'll get your home in the magazine. And see, most sellers like you, I mean, it's a logical process that they go off. I get my home in color, and I get into this magazine, and it's, God, it's really attractive. I like looking at the pictures. Then that's a good marketing media. Well, here's the truth, Rich. These agents right here, okay, they're going to sit down and use it as a listing tool. They're going to try to capture your listing. They're going to put it in here. You would expect these agents to pass out this magazine to their clients, right? You know what the truth is? They're never going to do it. These agents will never pass out this magazine to their clients where your home is, where you expect it to be advertised.
Why not?
So, Rich, when a buyer goes home with this magazine and sits down on the couch and they start flipping through the pages, guess what they see? A lot of property, agents, phone numbers. You know, Rich, there's 40 real estate agents in this magazine. You know, buyers aren't that loyal. So an agent would be scared to death to give this magazine to one of their clients. So this becomes a listing tool, and it actually never falls into the hands of the buyers. It's invisible to the buyers out there. Rich, the circulation of this magazine is around 25,000 or so, okay, and that varies. Where it's distributed is supermarkets, car washes, and real estate offices, okay? When they come into my office, they drop a stack of these off on the counter. Do you know what the agents in my office do with them?
Throw them away.
Yeah, they throw them away. There's no value. We would never hand out a magazine with 40 real estate agents with their phone numbers. One of our clients, are you kidding? Who would do that?
Right.
But they keep dropping off this 100 or so in every office in town in order to keep the circulation up so they can sell pages. And these agents want to keep buying pages again because they need a listing tool. They're hoping that they can trap you, bring you in to listing with them because of the picture, and they hope that you don't compare effective marketing. Make sense to you? I want to compare this to the First Team magazine, okay? As I start to flip through the First Team magazine, there's some very obvious differences. One is you won't find any real estate agents. Big, beautiful pictures. We're not selling insurance. We're not selling franchises. No institutional advertising in here, right?
Right.
What are we selling, Rich?
Homes.
Homes. Okay? Notice there's no phone numbers? Okay? There's absolutely no phone numbers in here. So every single one of our agents in our company, 1,100 of them, are happy to hand this to their clients. You know why? Because when that client goes home and sits on the couch and they start flipping through here and find the property with information on it, there's only one point of contact, the person who gave the magazine. So this becomes an effective marketing tool. See, the magazine's a good idea, but, you know, as a seller, you know, you want a buyer tool. You want something that has the ability to go out and capture buyers and interview. Ineffective? Effective. Supermarkets, car washes, directly into the hands of the consumer. Circulation on this magazine is 135,000 and our agents pass them out at open houses. They pass them out to the neighborhoods where they work. They pass them out to past clients. So out of the two magazines, where would you like to be advertised?
This one.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? This is a little bit deceiving, huh?
It is.
No. Well, we're here to explore the truth today. I want to talk to you about the internet. Do you have a webpage, Rich?
Don't have a web page, but I'm on the internet.
You're familiar with how that works? You know, most real estate agents have a web page, and you know, most companies have a web page. But you see, a web page is only as good as the people who actually visit the web page, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Sure.
I mean, what's the use of having a web page if nobody sees it, right? Well, again, remember the philosophy of the company. The philosophy of the company is to go out, capture buyers, and deliver them to our sellers, okay? First Team's website is designed exactly that way. What differentiates our ability to capture more buyers for our website is our massive marketing advertising schedule, okay? We have the ability to reach more people through our marketing and advertising than any other firm. We're making 5 million impressions a month, Rich. And on our advertising, we're driving the consumer right to our website. We're actually forcing the client right to our website through a video. If they want to look at a virtual tour, they can look at our ads, and these ads right here that have the symbol is telling the consumer that there's a virtual tour on that property. iPix is a company that we work closely with, and when I take your listing and I get back to the office tonight, what I'm going to do is call iPix, and I'm going to have them make an appointment to come out and do a virtual tour of the home. They actually will set up a camera, Rich, and do a 360-degree shot of your home in 4 different locations. I'll be able to take that film and put it on the website. So now when a client that only wants to view homes from the internet and they want to do a virtual tour, they're going to see clear inside shots of your home. And I may even do an outside shot because you've got a beautiful yard. Is that something you'd like?
Yeah.
Studies show that more people will look at the virtual tours than any other still photographs. Something I wanted to back up here, since we're on the topic, is remind you that we also have a division called First Estates. And First Estates is a marketing arm of First Team Real Estate. It's a marketing program that's specific to properties that exceed $700,000 in value. And I realize that our price range is a little bit different here, but what's important for you to know as a consumer is that we're not just focused on one area of the marketplace. Our job is to sell homes of all price ranges. We have a lot of clients, Rich, that are selling multi-million-dollar homes, and they're buying homes for their sons and daughters and investment properties and all of that. So our customer base is, from the entry level to the multi-million-dollar resident. So we have a marketing campaign that's very specifically geared for that customer as well. So I just wanted you to be comfortable with that we're looking at every single possible market for that buyer for your home. Make sense, Jim?
Yeah, it does.
This is a picture of our homepage at our website, Rich. And just like we've made certain decisions with our advertising in order to capture the client, keep them in the First Team system so we can sell them your property, our website's designed the same way. On the homepage, we have what's called information on demand. And this gives the buyer the ability to go right to information on demand and get information about schools, neighborhoods, communities, financing. I mean, our job, as we understand it, is once we make contact with that buyer, they contact us, we keep them in the First Team family. That's how you benefit, and we can get you a higher price. So the information on demand is set up exactly that way. As the buyer goes through our website, some of the benefits and some of the real attractions to them is that they can actually see a list of open houses. See, your home will be listed there. The days that we're doing an open house, I'll post it on our website, so buyers that are specifically looking, for an open house, can go right to our website and find it, as well as in print advertising. Make sense? We've got a hot buy list. We've got estate properties. They can find out information about relocation. So our website is very consumer friendly. It's totally focused on keeping the client in the First Team family. They can even talk to a live person right there. Isn't that exciting?
That is exciting.
Yeah. I want to talk about some other services that First Team offers, Rich, and that is a bundle of services. First Team has affiliations with an escrow company, a title company, and a mortgage company. And, again, the company's focus is on you, the consumer. And we know that if we have the right affiliates, services available for you, then it's a good chance that you're going to get superior service. You see, we want you to have superior service. So we have an escrow company that's totally consumer-driven, that's totally focused on you, the consumer. Again, they're concerned about your bottom line, not theirs, okay? The title company, same thing, same philosophy. They work very closely with the escrow to make sure that you have a smooth closing. The mortgage company, this is a company that's designed to make sure that you get the best possible rates and terms available in the marketplace. Okay, when you purchase your new home, or the buyer coming in, you can imagine with all this marketing and advertising, we have this huge funnel of buyers coming, right? Well, every one of our offices, there's either 1 or 2 mortgage lenders on site. They've got the ability, Rich, to pre-qualify that buyer right on the spot. They get a certificate of pre-qualification right there. because we know if we can do that, okay, we know exactly who we're working with, and we can deliver it to you a lot quicker. Make sense?
It does.
Yeah, exactly. Are you a statistics guy?
A little bit.
A little bit? On our website, okay, are you familiar with the term hit? Okay. On the weekends, First Team is averaging 156,000 hits on the website.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, huh? And about 115,000 during the week. Wow, pretty impressive, huh? Yeah, so most companies would love to have that in month, okay, and we're doing it over a weekend. It's because of our ability to drive the consumer to our website. So every piece of our marketing and advertising is all geared that way, okay? If we can do a better job of capturing a buyer for you, you'll get a higher price. Does that make sense? There's another area, Rich, I want to move into, and that's relocation. Remember we talked about 80% of the buyers in Orange County buy within Orange County? Well, there's still that other 20%, right? And that other 20%, they may be coming from out of state, maybe in another area. First Team has, again, positioned themselves to make sure that they have the best possible ability of capturing that person from outside the county. And we've aligned ourselves with a company called Relocation. It's RELO, RELO, okay? RELO represents 39% of the relocation business. Okay? It's the largest percentage of relocation business in the industry. Okay? And I'm sure First Team can align themselves with a different relocation company that may affect their bottom line. But see, we're focused on your bottom line. And that's why we're affiliated with RELO, which is it's a group of independent brokers. It's the best brokers in the country. And they're focused on their clients' bottom line too. So that's what makes it really valuable, is that we have a 39% chance of capturing an incoming client through our RELO system and delivering it to you. That's a greater percentage than any other relocation form available. Isn't that what you want? Rich, First Team realizes that the first week your home hits the market is the most important. Most firms will spread their marketing and their advertising, any of the things that they'll do for you over the course of the listing. Well, we front load you.
Okay.
We make sure up front, okay, that like when I get back to the office tonight, I've got a big job ahead of me, okay? I've got to input your listing into multiple listing service. I have to order the iPicks. I have to put you on the broker procurement. I have to put you in the office. There's a lot of things that we start doing up front, brochures and things of that nature. One of the other things we're going to do for you is I'm going to sign you up for a service that First Team has made available to its customers. Because remember, we're a consumer-driven company, and this company is unique in that no other firm is offering this type of service. It's called the Home Courtesy Services. We bought the exclusive right to this in Orange County. And so when I get back to the office tonight and I register you with our Home Courtesy Service, you'll be assigned a personal move coordinator. And that personal move coordinator, Rich, with just one conversation, is going to help you arrange appointments to maybe have carpets cleaned, repairs made to the property, have your utilities transferred when it's time, maybe arrange for some bids for some movers. Just anything associated with the moving process, because we want to make sure that your experience is a good one. As we've made sure that we've positioned our marketing and advertising out there so you're proud of it, and that you know exactly what we're doing the same thing here behind the scenes. We want to make sure that if there's going to be a vendor coming over to your house, that they're a quality vendor. Each of the vendors in the system, they have to go through a very grueling interview process in order to be one of the referrals that we send out. They have to be licensed, bonded, insured, okay, and they have to maintain a 95% approval rating in order to stay in the system. Sound like something you would use?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Rich, I'm real excited about taking the listing tonight. Would you like to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.